Over the period of this season, we've seen over 25 winners. Hulk, Jason Voorhees, Predator, Iron Man, Aang, Superman, Spawn, Wolverine, Dracula, Godzilla, Fulgore, Rayman, Dante, the Lizard, Ego, Deathstroke, Pimple, Zilla Jr., Thanos, Gundam Wing Zero, Red Ranger, The Blob, Toxic Avenger, and Splinter. These are all the survivors of this season's series of battle. Now 4 of them get to come back for 2 whole battles. I'm One Fish Mob, and it's time for a fan war back for blood. It's obvious we'd have to separate the characters with powers from the ones without superpowers. Like Thanos could easily slaughter Jason and almost every other single opponent. So we'll do the non-superpowered opponents first. We consider the non-superpowered character in this. Power-ups are not a power. They only grant them for a limited time. Tech is not a power at all. It is not naturally gifted to the combatant. Superhuman strength is only able to be considered not a superpower if it can only tear down doors. Okay, now let's get started. First up, it's Jason Voorhees, the Crystal Lake Killer. In his first appearance in Fan War, he battled Carrie, the telekinetic killer, and managed to win. He has a variety of ways to mutilate his victims, but sadly none of them are effective this time, where he could never stand up to opponents like Fulgore or Iron Man. But Jason is out. Next up is Rayman, the Limbless Crusader. Rayman first appeared to battle Mario for the title of Strongest Platformer, and he managed to outlast Mario and defeat him. Despite his power-ups making him powerful, he is no match for opponents like Gundam Wing Zero or Fulgore. So Rayman is eliminated. Next up is the Predator, the Invisible Hunter. The Predator appeared to hunt down Freight Cruiser, and the Hunter's equipment and experience easily led him to drag Freddy out of his territory and kill him. Even though the Predator can stand up to opponents like Fulgore, it cannot stand up to Iron Man or Gundam Wing Zero. So the Predator is just out of this fight. Next up is Fulgore, the metal monster of Ultra Tech. He appeared to terminate the Terminator, and successfully did that. And even though he's powerful enough to defeat the Terminator, Fulgore could not stand up to Gundam Wing Zero. So Fulgore is just comboed out of this fight. Next up is the Toxic Avenger, the monster hero of Tromaville. He appeared to battle his complete counterpart, Captain Planet. Captain Planet ultimately died at his toxicity. Even though he defeated Captain Planet, he'd never be able to defeat Iron Man. So Toxie is just washed up. Now it's Master Splinter, Sensei of the Ninja Turtles. He first appeared to battle Master Shifu when his cunning mind saved him from total destruction. But if he fights Iron Man Gundam Wing Zero, his mind will not save him. So even though Splinter is a better strategist, pure strength and technology just stomps him into oblivion. Now it's Iron Man, the Golden Avenger. He appeared to fight Mega Man and obliterate the blue robot. He's capable of hypersonic speed, and thanks to its newest suit, the Endosym armor, he's able to stand up to Gundam Wing Zero. So it's now Iron Man versus Gundam Wing Zero. Now, I will not make intros for the characters since you've seen all of the episodes by now and know their abilities, powers, and weaknesses. But anything new equipment or powers will be mentioned briefly. The Endosym armor is the latest suit Tony has made. It's a symbiotic metal-like creature that can telepathically be summoned and encase opponents and trap them within. It can absorb energy and damage metahumans that can absorb energy with its own energy. It carries all of Stark's normal equipment, repulsor blasts, unibeams, and so on. But with any of his suits, they can malfunction in life-threatening ways. Consume too much energy far too fast. Pride can get in his way sometimes. He has a weak heart. Sub-zero temperatures causes trouble with the suit, and if his armor is ever overrated, it can be bad for his health. With that out of the way, let's see who would win a battle to the death.
Fight!
So why did Gundam Wing Zero win? In the normal equipment, the Gundam easily trumped Iron Man, and for being far faster and stronger. But the only suit Stark had that can stand up to the Gundam and possibly win would be the Endosym. Of course, the Gundam was capable of defeating the faster-than-light Epion, which by all means is far more powerful than the Endosym. Iron Man could have tried to encase him, but of course the Gundam was far too large. It also didn't help Iron Man that most of his equipment was pretty much useless against the Gundam, since the wing system can easily predict. Even if Iron Man did use other suits like the Phoenix Killer or Galactus Buster, there's no saying the outcome would be any more different. Looks like Iron Man is just metal scrap. The winner is Gundam Wing Zero. Now that that fight's over, it's time for the characters with superpowers. First up is Pimple, the brawn of the Battletoads. He fought his fellow Toads to see who is the most powerful Toad is, and Pimple won out. Despite being powerful, he is unable to stand up to opponents like the Hulk. Looks like Pimple is just squished. Next up is Goro, the four-armed monster of Mortal Kombat. He won the battle with Idol, who he ripped up the two-headed beast. But despite that, he would never be able to defeat opponents like the Hulk. The Goro is just disarmed. Next up is Aang, the Avatar. He went to war with Spyro and managed to defeat the Purple Dragon. Of course, Aang would not be able to stand up to Spawn or Superman. Aang would just be slaughtered. Next up is Wolverine, the Clawed X-Man. He came to battle Scorpion and cut him down to size, but of course he would never be able to fight Spawn or Thanos. So Wolverine would just be declawed. Next is Dracula, the king of vampires. Dracula came to battle the Frankenstein monster. He gained the control of the monster, but even though he's immortal, he could not fight Dante or Thanos and win. so Dracula won't be able to win this fight. Next up is the Lizard, the reptilian rival of Spider-Man. He came to fight Riptor and ultimately prevailed, but sadly he won't be able to stand up against opponents like Godzilla or even Zilla Jr. Next up is Ego, the Living Planet. Ego appeared to wage war with Mogo and blew him into space rock. But one problem, he cannot stand up to the destructive power of the Infinity Gauntlet. So Ego is just blown out of here. Next up is Zilla Jr., the 1998 Godzilla's Redemption. He appeared to do battle with Varan, the Unbelievable, and turned him into ash. But no matter how powerful he is, he could never stand up to its counterpart Godzilla. Now it's time for Deathstroke, the Terminator. He came out of the shadows to assassinate Captain America and succeeded in his mission. But of course, healing factor or not, he would never be able to defeat Dante, Spawn, or Thanos. The only thing here he could defeat would probably be the Red Ranger, but not even money would make him win this fight. Now it's time for Dante, the demigod demon slayer. He came to slay the god of war Kratos and defeated him almost effortlessly. But even with his powers, the Infinity Gauntlet of Thanos is still too much for him, and will definitely kill him. Though it looks like the demigod just can't best the near god. Godzilla, king of the monsters. He rampages into Fanlore to defeat Ultraman and reduced him into ash. But just like Dante, he would never be able to defeat Spawn or Thanos. So sadly, the king has to wait until season 2 to come back. Now it's time for Superman, the Man of Steel. Superman flew into Fanlore to defeat the unstoppable Juggernaut. But just like Godzilla, Superman would never stand up to Thanos or Spawn for a long period of time. So Superman has to be brought out of this fight. Now it's time for Hulk, the strongest one there is. He was one of the very first opponents to come into Fanlore. The very first episode to be precise, where he battled Doomsday, the monster that killed Superman and easily tore him down to size. But even though he is strong, he could never stand up to Spawn or Thanos on his own. Red Ranger and definitely the Blob he can stand up to, but not the other two. Now it's time for one of the most recent characters, the Blob, the predatory slime mold from outer space. It came to Earth to devour the Thing and succeeded, but the Blob would definitely never stand up to Thanos or Spawn. The Red Ranger definitely, but not Thanos or Spawn. Now it's time for the Red Ranger, the former leader of the Power Rangers. He appeared to do battle with Leonardo, the leader of the Ninja Turtles. But of course, Thanos and Spawn are just too far out of his league, so now it's down to the last two. Spawn, the mercenary from Hell, and Thanos, the Titan of Death. Spawn has killed both Satan and God, and Thanos has the power of a god himself. These two are going to be the opponents for this fight. Nothing really new about Thanos except for him being able to fly now. Now, let's see who is the strongest superpowered character is.
Fight!
So why did Spawn win? Well, that's easy. Spawn's abilities are certainly capable of standing up to the Infinity Gauntlet, having been able to defeat both Satan and God. If you know anything about Christianity, God can basically just blink Thanos out of existence if he wanted to. Also, Spawn is capable of surviving most of Thanos' attack due to its naturally strict weaknesses. And Spawn definitely had enough evil and sin to feed on during the fight, due to Thanos' lust for wanting to impress Death herself. The only thing that could possibly hurt Spawn would be the Soul Gem. But of course, that Infinity Gem or Gauntlet itself isn't a weapon forged in heaven whatsoever. Looks like the Titan of Death was finally killed. The winner is Spawn. Thank you for being with me for this season, and I hope you enjoy Season 2.